The Kayfabe Smark Podcast.
Welcome to the Kayfabe Smark Podcast with Eric Todd and Brian Rampa, your Smart Mark source for news and opinions on the world of professional wrestling.
What is going on? What is going on? It is August 7th, and this is episode 11 of the Kayfabe Smark Podcast. I am Brian. Hanging out with me always is Eric. Eric, what is going on over there?
Same shit, different day. Ready to talk about some wrestling. We got some fun news stories. We got another question in the bank, and I've got some hell of a notes on AEW.
All right. Well, that being said, make sure you guys jump on over to all our social media platforms: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. The Kayfabe Smark. Head on over to anchor.fm/the Kayfabe Smark. Leave us a voicemail or question, comment, concern, a joke. Anything that you're finding interesting to get us two numbskulls bantering back and forth. That's what we're looking for there. And then also make sure you head on over to audibletrial.com/the Kayfabe Smart. Get yourself a 30-day Audible trial. Get a free audiobook. You help us out. We help you out. It is a win-win.
Win-win with no obligation. Just to remind you, you get your free book, you opt out, you keep your free book, we still get the mailbox money. Everybody wins.
Everybody wins. Everybody wins. All right, where did my notes go? Pop that up. Cool. We are going to dive into the question first, I believe. So let me pop that up here. This question comes up to us from Michael. He runs an Instagram over there on Instagram, as I start to stutter myself and repeat myself, AEW News 1 _. That is AEW News 1 _ over on Instagram. Check him out. Lots of information clearly about AEW. But let's see what his question is this week.
Hey guys, AEW News 1 here. I got a quick question. What would be your next AEW title that would be created? There's a lot of talk online about a trios title being, in the works, especially since AEW has a lot of three-man tag team groups. That would be my pick. I was wondering what you guys thought. What would be your next big title to be created?
All right, well, there's your question of the week from AEW News 1 on Instagram. What new title would you add into AEW?
I don't know. I'm having a tough time with this one. Why don't you
Well,
you got one lined up that you would take?
I mean, let's run down the list of titles we have, right? So we have your heavyweight championship.
Okay.
You have your TNT championship.
Right.
You have a tag team championship, easy for me to say, and a women's championship.
Okay.
That's about what we've got so far, right?
Right.
So what else possibilities could we add? A hardcore, but that's kind of been done.
Yeah.
Or I'll be honest with you, without agreeing with the question and creating a lot of banter, I like the 6-man championship. They run that in ROH, and they also have that over in New Japan. So I like that. I like that question, or I like that they're adding the 6-man championship. I'm not sure what else there would be.
Yeah, I don't know. I think adding a 6-man champion or a 3-man tag team championship belt would cause problems, because AEW's already, stepping outside of their comfort zone. They're still learning. They're still trying to get their shit together. If they try and shoehorn 3-man tag teams in there, which, they already have a couple factions, but if they just start forcing 3-man tag teams, I just think the shit's going to get real ugly real fast.
Get lost on who's on what. And then you're going to have tag teams with a 3-man tag team. So then you're going to have, they're going to be the tag team and 6-man tag team. It could be interesting if it's done right. Like you said, they're going to shoehorn it and force it. And that's not what we want either.
No, and we already have a big title. And then you have your secondary title. And the women don't need a tag title because, let's face it, the women are shit right now.
I was going to say
it's tough enough letting one of them hold a belt at all.
I was going to say they have that option of a women's tag title. Is there like a women's mid card title that you could put in, a women's TV champion?
Who the fuck are we gonna give that to? Abaddon?
I'm not saying that it makes sense or that they should. I'm just saying if we're gonna just talk AEW, I'm trying to think like, or do you call they're just a mid card then, but that's about the options. So I think their best option would be the 6-man if they're really looking for something. But really, I'd say let's make sure everything we got is super tight.
I'm going to think outside the box here. I'm going with a lightweight or a flyweight, however you want to name it. And then that way you can have the Darby Allins or the Sammy Guevaras or even the Marco Cunts actually going after a title where it's believable that they win.
So taking a page out of New Japan, doing the junior heavyweights as they call it over there. And so that was the big deal. It was a big joke, not a big deal. A couple years back when the Young Bucks went from junior tag team champions and they said they're not, they weren't 205 anymore. They weighed 206. They got their weight up to 206 so they could go for the heavyweight championship. It was obviously it's for fun, but something along those lines that you could separate the guys and some of the smaller guys.
Right. I think final answer is I don't think they should add any belts at this point. But if I had to force one, it would be a junior heavyweight, I guess would be the term for it.
Working the weight classes into it. I like it. Weight classes, junior heavyweight championship. I'm siding with Eric. I'm dumping the 6-man tag, and I'm going with Eric on that. Let us know what you guys think. Sound off in the comments. If you're on YouTube, post something on Instagram, Facebook, comment, tag us. Let us know what's going on. And from here, we shall move on and talk a little bit about WWE, a topic that we don't touch on too much these days because, well, the show has been pretty much shit.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. It's been trash, and the viewership are going down every week. And I'm thinking that the shareholders are, if it goes down anymore, the shareholders are going to get pissed. They're going to demand something gets changed, just like Papa John's. They demanded that motherfucker get out of Dodge. What happens if the shareholders, want to kick Vince to the curb or, throw a chastity belt over his mouth?
I don't know, man. They just reported, according to the internet. Now, I didn't listen by any means, but they just reported big earnings and that they're in huge profit right now. But, they're not traveling. So they're still getting all the money from USA, all the money from Fox, sponsorships, whatever it is, everything that normally comes in, but very, very minimal is going out now. So you have that going for them, that they're not traveling. There's no travel cost. The show has been in Florida at the Performance Center for months now. I don't know. Maybe that's the reason that they're up. So I can't tell you that the show makes it better, but I'm just saying they're reporting profits.
I mean, yeah, they're running an eco-friendly product, I guess. You make a very good point there that they're saving money on a lot of that stuff. They also just let a shit ton of undercard talent go. But something's got to happen if nobody's watching. The ratings don't lie.
No, the ratings do not lie. Really, overall, Raw, unmemorable to me. That's not the topic of the situation. Let's talk about the topic at hand that anybody's talking about Raw right now. Shane McMahon makes his reappearance back from wherever he went off to and has a new segment called Raw Underground. They teased this, that it was happening, and it's only happening after the 10 o'clock hour. So kind of giving you that feel to when in the 90s when Raw went from Monday Night Raw to Raw is War at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, didn't they flip from TV PG to TV 14 at 10 o'clock or something?
At one point,
At
one point they were. It was two different names. It was like the Raw and then Raw is War, and the whole 9. And I guess there was other things that I've heard over the years that helped reflect that it was two technically different TV shows, and then it helped them in the ratings as well. So there was something along those lines and some weird tactics that way. But back to this topic at hand here, Raw Underground. If you weren't privy to watching Monday Night Raw will tap you in on this. This was a weird segment that started out of nowhere. It was in a back room, weird yellow lighting, Shane McMahon in a big ring. It almost looked oversized to me. Maybe it was just the angles we were looking at. No ropes, black canvas, and he just started calling out guys to fight. And he brought out that one big giant Abadaba or Abazaba, using all different.
Yeah, I have no clue who that guy was. I don't know if
He was a monster, though.
Oh yeah, he was humongous, but I don't know if he was just like a newer guy in NXT that we've never seen before, or just an independent worker. But yeah, he's big and mean looking.
Yeah, that's a fact. And then they just had him beat the hell out of each other. But then like this referee came running out of nowhere. So it had this UFC Fight Club, WWE had a weird three-way baby, and out came Raw Underground.
What it really reminded me of is there was an arcade game back in the 90s. So I'm not sure who remembers it, but it's called Pit Fighter.
Oh, no.
And Pit Fighter just had like 3 or 4 shitty guys that you just street fight in a pit. Well, the only thing that's weird about this is it has a real Fight Club street fight look and feel and camera work and everything. But all the shit's worked punches.
That was what I noticed. You could tell they were worked punches, which is fine. I'm not trying to buy that it's real. I'm okay. I can play the game. But the camera work was trying to be so aggressive and fast, and they were doing such weird cuts that they were trying to take away from the working punch. I say fuck it and just roll with the working punch. But, you know.
I mean, it's probably going to be no surprise to you, but I'd say fucking scrap it, man, because what's the difference between that and WWE? There's no ropes. Other than that, it's all just worked shit. I don't get what it's supposed to be. You know, if it's supposed to be a street fight or if it's supposed to be mixed martial arts, you can't make the shit look like a work. You know, then it's just another Gaga specialty wrestling match.
Right. It was weird. I wasn't sure if I liked it or not. I'm still not positive on how I feel about it. I think the idea was great. I think it was poorly executed. There was no explanation of any type of rules, for one, if there is any.
Yeah.
They were just like,
explain nothing. They're just like, hey, Abazaba, you're up, and look, here's this dickhead in the audience. He wants to fight you. Look, he's going to take off his shoes. And
but then the ref never called anything. Shane McMahon called it. That's enough. And then the ref told him to stop. And then he's like, who's got next? And then some other guy jumped in the ring to fight Abazaba. And they fought for a minute, and they were like, all right, that's enough. Let's get 2 new guys up here. So does everybody fight twice? Do you win? And then but then I actually thought it was going to be so I thought there was a couple ways that they should have done this and could have done this. I thought it was going to be its own mini show within Raw. Not the full 10 o'clock hour, 10 to 11, right? That's crazy talk.
Well, that's kind of what I was expecting because my DVR recorded 4 hours for Raw. So I thought you had texted me. You said, check out blah, blah, blah after the 10 o'clock hour. And I assumed maybe 11 to 12 was Raw Underground and it was a whole new show. If it was a whole new show, maybe I could get into it a little more if it was its own thing. But
so I thought it was going to be 11 to 12 or 11 to 11:30 that they worked a half an hour in, or it was going to be on the network or whatever. There was something. Then I learned it's during the show. So then I was like, well, maybe they'll just give it 15 minutes and then you can kind of have these meet new guys and help bring them up and work them into your TV. And then it wasn't even that. It was just like 45 seconds, a minute and a half. And then they go back to Brian Saxton and the other jerk-offs there at ringside, and they're like, and Samoa Joe, and they're like, that's pretty cool. Well, let's go to ringside. And then they have a wrestling match, and they're just, we're going to go back. And then I thought the ending, that the way they wrapped it up with they went back in and there was already stuff going on, like the club, the little underground fight scene was still happening. So they come in the middle of it with Dolph Ziggler wrestling.
Right.
So that was kind of cool that it was like still rolling. I don't know. I just still don't know what to think about it. The things that I liked about it, you got to see guys like Dolph Ziggler, who was a collegiate ranked wrestler, from Kent State, I believe he was from.
Is it supposed to give them
you got to see
not street cred but I guess like legitimate to make them look like legitimate fighters?
Yeah, like you got to see Dolph put in like moves, like right. He was kind of schooling that guy. Whether it was shoot or not, it worked, and it made me believe it. And then obviously he's gonna win from some guy with a mask that jumped in that wanted to wrestle, but like it was just in jeans and he had his Jordans on, and that was kind of cool. Same thing when you got to see Shelton Benjamin at the end. Again, another collegiate wrestler, right? Training partner of Brock Lesnar. Got signed sight unseen because he trained with Brock Lesnar. They offered him a huge contract. You got to see MVP, Bobby Lashley do their little thing. It was cool. It was weird.
I don't know. I hope they give us a little more on it because I just don't get the fucking point.
I think I needed some explanation. Like, this is Raw Underground, and this is what we're about.
Yeah,
we're sick
why does Bobby Lashley need to be on there kicking people's ass underground? We already know Bobby Lashley's a fucking beast.
Right. I thought they should have said, this is what we're about. We're sick of this, so this is what we do. You guys are polished. We're fighters. You're entertainers. We're, no promos. It's two guys fighting. It's this kind of to create but they didn't even do that. They're just like Abba Zabba and this guy.
I don't know. We're only one episode in. Maybe they'll push a little more for it. Either that or just maybe they're coming all over themselves because of the success of these cinematic matches they've been having, and they just think that we can do cinematic shit every week, and rather than filming a mini movie like the Boneyard match or whatever. I almost said Boner Yard.
We can talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, but they can't do a mini movie every week, so maybe this is their way of getting some cinematic shit in every single week.
I guess I'm not sure. I still don't know. It's been several days now, and I still don't know what to think about it. But that was Raw. That was Raw Underground. Check it out. Plenty of clips, or pop on Hulu or whatever you watch your WWE on if you got it recorded, and we'll go from there. So that's that. Over on NXT, big ordeal. Pat McAfee was heading to NXT on Wednesday, last night, as we record this last night.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? So they had him come out. The rest of the show was good. It's NXT. It's a decent show to watch. They're really pushing this North American match for the three-way matches they keep having for the ladder match leading up to TakeOver. Speaking of TakeOver, we are going to get Adam Cole and Pat McAfee at TakeOver 30.
Cool.
He came out. He was talking trash back and forth. He told Adam Cole he'll always be an itty bitty widow guy or something along those lines, right? And Adam Cole freaked the fuck out again. And then he punted Adam Cole. Triple H freaks out and he pushes Pat McAfee, so he's getting involved. He's hot, right? His shirt. So it's all being worked and it's fine. But
I don't know. Is this just the Family Dollar version of Bam Bam Bigelow versus Lawrence Taylor?
Maybe it's the way to. Maybe Pat McAfee's looking to work his way into the business. He's always loved it. He's a big guy. He's an athlete. He's a professional athlete.
Worked great for Gronk.
I think this could work better.
Well, yeah, like maybe you got another Mongo McMichael on your hands.
I think Pat, because he can actually talk, right? So he already hosts the show. He's got internet clout. They're reaching out for people to watch and tune in to the show that just watch Pat McAfee show. It's a crossover promotion. They're doing a collab. It is what it is. I don't know. It could be entertaining. Adam Cole, I like Adam Cole. He's entertaining. Pat McAfee's funny because he's a big dickhead. So I like that. So we'll see what happens. What are you going to do?
Right. Yeah, I guess to a WWE fan, this might be the most entertaining thing in the world. You know, I personally just don't give a shit about Pat McAfee, and I just see just another football player just trying to walk his way into the WWE and get a big match right off the bat. We see Tyson Fury, that worked really well. What was the other guy that was in WWE for about 5 minutes? Was there another
There's been so many guys that tried to
fucking
cross
boxer
over.
or some shit?
Yeah. I mean, they had Floyd Mayweather come in for about 8 seconds, and I mean, obviously knew he wasn't going to stay, but you know what I mean.
Right, and it's just these guys who just come over and they don't spend any time training and want to get a big match. The match is going to be garbage, and then it's just going to be a flash in the pan, like, oh my God, Pat McAfee's here, and then he'll just fade into obscurity.
Go host his internet talk show, and there you go.
Whatever, you get your little cheap pop from your crossover promotion. Thanks for the flick off there, and
Nothing in my eye, nothing personal there.
I didn't realize you were such a Pat McAfee fan.
I am. I'm all mad over here.
No, I don't know. I just think it's going to be a cheap 5-minute pop, and that's that. It's just a fucking waste of time. Adam Cole could do much better things with his time.
I don't think it's a terrible thing, but I think it's bad that they're putting it on TakeOver, which is supposed to be their, it's their show, right? It's their big quarterly pay-per-view they get. Why don't they just throw this on a Wednesday night? You throw Adam Cole, Pat McAfee next Wednesday.
Well,
do the.
Neither you or I are the biggest football fans in the world.
Yeah.
And until a week or 2 weeks ago, whenever Adam Cole did the first interview, I had never heard of Pat McAfee.
Only reason I've ever heard of him is because he hosted some pre-shows, and I've popped him on while cleaning the house and getting ready to watch an NXT pay-per-view, and he was hosting a pre-show.
Right.
I didn't know he was a football player. I knew he hosted an internet show, and that's why he got to host the pre-show. I didn't know he was a football player until Adam Cole attacked him, and somebody said he was a punter for a football team. I don't even know.
That's even worse. He's a fucking punter. At least Lawrence Taylor murdered people when he played football. Jesus. But I don't know. We're not the core audience. We're not the audience they're looking for. So I'm going to shit all over it, and they don't care if I shit all over it.
Well, the thing is they already got us. They're trying to grab crossover. They're trying to grab his people from his thing. But I digress. Let's move on. And in the topic of football, before we start digging into AEW and really talking about some things that happened over there, The Rock purchasing the XFL out of bankruptcy. What the hell was that about?
Yeah, I don't know. I think The Rock needs to take that mental acuity test that Donald Trump took a couple weeks ago, because I think he's lost his goddamn marbles.
Well, let's be honest. He went in with his ex-wife.
They get along awfully great for some reason.
So let's say they even just split it. $7.5 million for The Rock.
Oh yeah, that's piss in a bucket for The Rock.
That's me and you going out to dinner at Applebee's, and so it's he can throw it in there. He loves the game of football. He's giving guys an alternate that don't get drafted. That's obviously has been the big thing, letting guys continue to play either on the way up or on the way down that can't make it in the league anymore. So there's something to that, I think, but I don't know. That surprised the hell out of me. I didn't see The Rock coming in to save this thing at all.
I mean, there's a possibility in this. This is just a big gamble. I think The Rock, if I was him, I would just play it safe and keep making movies and keep getting rich and keep getting on TV and keep getting endorsements. This is a huge risk, even if he just threw in $7.5 million, because the XFL has already failed twice. But there is a possibility because The Rock is a better human being than Vince McMahon. I don't think that's a very fought against opinion there.
Over on Instagram, I put a question out I put a picture up of The Rock in the XFL, and I said, do you think he did it for the love of the game? Do you think he did it to help out Vince McMahon and keep a dream alive? Or do you think he did it to give Vince a fuck you, I'll run your shit better than you? Probably not the last one so much, but maybe a crossover of the first two.
I think he did it for the love of the game. He loves football, and the reason I say it could possibly work is Vince did try and run it like he ran a wrestling promotion. He paid the guys bare minimum salaries, probably less than we make on our 9-to-5 jobs. And these guys busted their ass and risked injury every week. And, you know, Vince isn't the most generous guy in the world. I think if Dwayne Johnson is pumping a little more money into it, helping the guys, you know, get along, actually make a living off of it, it could be a big thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, neither one of us really give two about footballs, but got my interest piqued because The Rock is the one that bought it. Now, if you would have told me Tom Brady bought the XFL, we wouldn't have really had. We would have maybe brushed over it and said, "Hey, that was weird." And next, but that is that for those random conversations. I think they're what we'll call small news bits.
Well,
one more thing. This
there
is
is
a big
one
thing.
more.
This is
Yeah,
a bigger one. That was small news. Let's go into the segment I'm going to call "You Heard."
you heard. Our favorite rocker, and probably yours too, internet audience, Marty Jannetty, never a stranger to the news headlines, made his
Marty-
biggest.
I was
Marty's
gonna
a
say,
fucking weirdo, man.
Marty has been a fan of ours. Eric and I have been a fan of Marty Jannetty since probably 2006 on MySpace, as Marty was the one that kept us informed of what was happening in the wrestling world, and most sadly, who had recently passed away.
Oh my God, Marty had almost like a weekly update on dead wrestlers. It's fantastic. But I'm going to take it a step further back. I'm an idiot, Brian, or I was at least. Well, a lot of people would still say I am. But
That's
when I was a
debatable.
kid, when I watched the Rockers on TV, I thought Marty was a star.
Man, you always pick the winner, don't you? There's a couple other
man.
stories that I can't think of off my head, top of my head here, but where you really picked the real turd sandwich of the two.
Yeah, I really should stay away from casinos because I would have put my life savings on Marty Jannetty to be the star of the Rockers, and boy, did he shit the bed.
Yeah, I don't know whatever happened there. I don't know if he was just a pain backstage or he was good. I don't know if he was Shawn Michaels like evolution good, but he also didn't have that much time post Rockers, it seemed like. So
Well, when you have a blonde and a brunette in a tag team,
the blonde wins.
blonde always wins. I just wasn't privy to that information when I was 6, apparently.
I wasn't privy to that information, but Marty got into a little bit of what we call trouble.
Yeah, he's got a little heat on him right now. It doesn't look like much is going to come of it, but turns out back in roughly 1973 or so down in Georgia, Marty was working at a bowling alley, and there was a weird fella, I think they called him Bob, and he worked the bar at this bowling alley, and he also sold weed, and Marty wanted to buy some weed at the tender age of 13 years old. This fella Bob invites Marty out to his car and allegedly gropes Marty's penis through his pants and says, "What is this?" And Marty wasn't having it.
Like, I feel bad. Like if it's true story, like somebody getting sexually assaulted, it's not funny, but just because it comes from Marty Jannetty, my lord.
And Marty, he did an audio interview recently with, I believe, Boston Wrestling, and he reiterates about 15 times, "I don't have a problem with gay people. A lot of my best friends are gay. Pat Patterson, he's gay. He's my friend. I like gay people."
The old Seinfeld, not that there's anything wrong with that.
Right. So he pulled that a few times. He wants you to know he does have a problem with gay people because Bob was gay. He had a problem with him groping his 13-year-old baby penis through his pants, which you can't be mad at somebody for that.
So
Yeah.
Marty states in his Facebook post, which kind of stirred this up, this isn't the first time I made somebody disappear.
Yeah. So allegedly, Marty got out of the car and his pants were pulled down and his twanger was hanging out or whatever. And he decides to hit Bob with a brick and allegedly dumped him in the Chattahoochee River. and
That was
says
a
on
wrap.
Facebook, "This isn't the first time I've made somebody disappear."
Now, the thing that nobody seems to be touching on, and then, oh yeah, he also stated that they should have looked in the Chattahoochee for they never saw this Bob fella again and should have looked in the Chattahoochee. But the thing that makes me wonder that I really haven't seen anybody talking about recently is that he states this isn't the first time. So
Nobody's making too much mention about that.
that there would possibly be a second or third time.
Is Marty a serial killer? Is he going to do crossover episodes over to Red Handed and serial killers?
Like, I mean, when you say this isn't the first time I've done something, meaning I've done it. Like also other times, I don't know. That part seemed weird. It was, but he put this out there. It stirred up some stuff. Barstool Sports got a hold of it. TMZ got a hold of it. Marty's in a little bit of Dutch here for a moment. I don't know if he's going to get tried on anything. They still don't have a bodies or anything along those lines or real proof that he wasn't just shooting his mouth off on the internet, as he does a lot.
Yeah, the latest thing I've seen is evidence points to it's just Marty running his mouth to try and get his name out there again. I don't know if he's working independent shows or anything anymore, but the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's website does not list any unsolved murders that took place prior to 1980. So there's no unsolved mysteries, Robert Stack looking for a killer, the Chattahoochee slaughter or anything like that.
Chattahoochee Slaughter. That's what he should just be billed on the indie scene. Marty, the Chattahoochee Slaughterer Genetti. But I don't know. Of course, Marty. If you don't follow Marty on some type of social media platform, boy, do I recommend it. And the reason we call the segment "You Heard" is because that's how he ends 99% of his posts. He's got 10 wifeys in each state. He'll tell you all about it. He's a real train wreck of a human, and I hope that he keeps his head on straight.
I mean, I hope he just has enough money to get by and enough money to pay for his internet service so that he can keep rambling on, because I love me some Marty rambles.
Oh, man, some Marty rant. So we might be checking in with this story as it evolves, and we'll keep you posted. Unravels, evolves, comes together, falls apart, however you want to look at it. And we'll also just keep up on what else Marty's saying these days, because, well, now he's got everybody's ears on him and eyes looking at him. So let's see what happens. That sums that up. What do you got? We want to dive into AEW?
I think we can dive into some AEW.
All right. Well, let's kick it off. It starts off with 12-man tag. And
boy, we didn't learn from last week, did we?
You know what? I think they learned a little bit. So I knew you were going to come out mad at it because you didn't like it to begin with. So I looked at like about I think I have 3 positive points here in my head. 1 and 2 are about the same. 1, the catch me spots.
2 a minimum.
Was it like 1, 2?
Yeah.
It wasn't like 15 of them in a row like last week. At the end of the day, that isn't it. But I think they're listening to our show. Somebody over there in AEW, I think they're listening, because the one that I remember that was outside, obviously outside the ring, it was from the top going out. The camera was on the guy jumping, and then you didn't see any, like it just happened so fast that all the guys, there's a bunch of people on the ground. So you didn't see these guys getting together and arms around each other and
we are the world.
Right. You didn't see him getting ready to hold hands across America and catch their buddy as he flies through the air. Good guy, bad guy, didn't matter. You can't let your friend hit concrete. You didn't see that. You just saw, look, he's up. And as it pans, boom, these guys are down. Hey, I didn't know those guys were there. That was, like I said, just work with me here.
maybe they learned a tad, but still, just starting off right off the bat with a complete shit show anarchy match is just kind of like, come on, man.
The other thing that I think that I can give it is that they necessarily didn't do this part, but it was stated by JR, which kind of helps break it down for me. Well, 12 guys in the ring. This is just going to be pure anarchy and chaos. By stating that to me, that helps again with that nonsense rules of who's in, who's out, and 10-second counts, and none of it matters. Whose line is it anyway rule. So he kind of led you in to believe like, hey, it's 12 guys, man. This ref's gonna have his hands full. That helps put some believability into what you're seeing to me.
The one thing I was confused on is they didn't state, or at least I didn't catch them state, the actual layout of this match. What were the rules as far as pinning or whatever from the get-go? Because, after Brody Lee gets in there and does some typical Young Buck shit with the Young Bucks, he tags out to one of the Dark Order dweebs wearing a dress shirt and slacks. And the skinny little jobber boy gets hurricaned off the top rope by one of the Bucks. I think it was Bald Buck. And, this guy was like Marco Stunt built, maybe a tad bit taller, but he got hurricaned off the top rope, and the Buck boy pinned him or went for a pin. Nobody from Dork Order or Colt Cabana hopped in the ring to break up the pin. So that's where the confusion was for me. Like, is this going to be in Survivor Series rules,
right,
or what's going on? Because that dork should have been pinned after that.
The other thing that I can give is that the tags were pretty clear and pretty in your face about the tags, especially on the Dark Order side. They were very adamant about tagging, which is something that's been talked about AEW for a long time, that their tagging is weak, that they don't tag in their tag matches, that it's just blind tags, or like the Lucha Bros don't tag at all. It's coming from AAA down in Mexico, where you don't have to tag. You just get in the ring and then your buddy gets out and you move on with life. So the tags were pretty consistent. They were right there. You saw them a lot. They showed the video, the cameras were on them. And I again, they've taken some points of things that have happened, and I think they made good of that.
Right. The Dark Order, I think maybe they are compensating for having such a shitty gimmick and such a shitty stable, because last week, if you remember, we saw a pretty good match with, was that Stu Grayson and Pizza Uno?
Yeah.
They wrestled their asses off.
Yeah, they
this
Kenny
week,
and Cowboy.
This week, they were tagging. They were following rules. It was just, I just didn't get what's going on. But once things started rolling, a lot of the false finishes or whatever, most of them after that got broken up. So I devolved from that this is going to be a first person who gets pinned loses. But
do you think that the knee injury was work or shoot?
I'm going with work on that. First of all, with FTR, I was pretty ashamed of them for a moment, because they took part in that 6-man, 5-man, or whatever triple vertical suplex thing. It was just so just put together and fake looking and choreographed. And at that point, I'm just like, my God, I'm just ashamed of them for even being involved in this match. But they got in there after that spot. FTR got in there and started working their style of match, until, again, they invited Adam Page in to perform a fucking Three Stooges skit. FTR and Adam Page decide all three of them are going to do a figure 4 leg lock on the Dork Order fellas, and the Dork Order boys kick them, and they all just run into each other and fall down like fucking Larry, Curly, and Mo. It was the stupidest shit I had seen to this point. We're only 15 minutes into this goddamn show, but it didn't take FTR to adapt to the mud show style of wrestling. But back to your original question, Dax hurt his knee. Page and Wheeler, Adam Page and Cash Wheeler, escort him to the back.
The only reason I thought that I was buying that it was for real, that it was shoot, was that Kenny Omega's in the ring. He looks confused now. That you're leave it alone. He looks confused, but the Bucks, like even the Dark Order didn't. So like the match kind of fell apart for like 10 seconds where nobody was really doing anything. The Bucks are helping him. The Bucks aren't on the ring anymore. It just kind of looked like they were honestly helping somebody for a half second. Like, oh shit, what do we do here on live TV? to me, it actually worked, whether it was shoot or not, is it took a few guys out of the ring and calmed down so many bodies flying around. So,
So the
happy
one
accident or not. Because one of the Bucks left too. I think Nick left with him, and then Nick and Hangman went out and then came back, and then it was just Matt and Kenny, and then Nick came back, and then finally Hangman comes back.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess the one point I could give it, which I hope it was a work, because
Well, obviously.
we not need FTR injured at this point. But the one thing I can give it is the camera did not focus. Besides the first up close of him trying to take his knee pad and his robot knee off, they didn't really focus on those guys. They kind of went back to the match, which kind of shows like maybe it was real. But where I started to think it was a work is the commentators didn't waste any time playing into the disadvantage that the elite was facing. They over and over and over kept driving in your head. Oh no, with Paige gone and both members of FTR gone, they're at an extreme disadvantage now. The Dark Order is going to take advantage of this. There's no beating the Dark Order now. You know, they really went for it, and that's why I'm thinking it was worked.
Well, again, I would hope it's a work. You know, we need FTR in the tag team and keep doing what they do. I thought it was good. And then Adam Page coming back as a ball of fire. He was diving and clotheslining people, doing some cowboy shit, just doing what he can do best. And then the way that
was a very hot tag that Adam Page made his comeback, and that shit should have lit his hand on fire. That was a fucking hot tag. He just came in clearing shit out.
And then I like the way that Mr. Brody Lee like watched him kind of demolish some of his guys with those weird little eyes like a doll's eyes. He's got like eyes like Jaws, his little pinpointed eyes. And so he's just watching him, and then he's laughing, and then he looks, and then he gets the tag in. And then you can just see, for me, maybe I'm just hoping or I'm seeing something happening. They're laying it out. But these guys in some one-on-one matches leading up to something cool. I think these two are just monsters and can beat the hell out of each other. And I think that'd be some interesting to watch just those two. It looked like he was sizing them up, like, all right. You know, you got Brody Lee, like, all right, cool. You beat the hell out of that guy over there, number 4 and number 2. And now let the big man come in. And, you know, they were going to town on each other. So I think that could be fun to see those two work a program together and lead up to a big match down the road.
Well, yeah, Brody Lee's definitely near the top of the list for top heel. And Adam Page, if Jon Moxley wasn't champion, the most deserving guy right now, I think, would be Adam Page. So, I would love to see those two work. The Bucks made sure they got their super kick party, and
that's what they do.
932. I'm not mad at them.
It's their stairway to heaven, right?
They did their super kick party. That's what made them popular. They kicked 58 guys. Adam Page attempted the buckshot lariat or buckshot clothesline, whatever the hell it is, on Brody Lee. Brody dodges it, and Brody clotheslined the living fuck out of Adam Page.
He did. Page turned himself inside out for that.
Oh, yeah. You could see his fucking lungs on his ribcage right there, man. He turned him out. But he got that pin, and it was just 19 minutes of chaos and mayhem.
Yeah. I mean, you put 12 guys into a ring, you can't expect much less. Again, they just need to give it some titles for me of what it is. So they should just call it no countouts, just guys in the ring. Like, tags don't matter. Just say it, and then it doesn't matter. Then you just keep running the match the way you normally do, and life goes on.
Life goes on.
Next. Yeah, next. What else we got?
Santana and Ortiz versus Schmuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, the best friends, who arrive in Trent's mom's minivan again.
Sue. Her name is Sue.
Oh, yeah. Let's not forget Sue. But
Sue Beretta. Don't you? Come on.
Oh, yeah. It's just Trent also. We also, big news on the internet this week, Schmuck Taylor came out with his own hot sauce, and us first. This is a Kayfabe Smark exclusive. We got our hands on the Schmuck Taylor hot sauce commercial. Make sure you go over to our YouTube channel, the Kayfabe Smark, and check out this commercial. It's fantastic. And Brian's going to play the audio right now of Schmuck Taylor's new hot sauce.
Here we go.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Schmuck Taylor. As you can tell by my large, flabby physique, I love me some nice, hearty food. And there's nothing better to top off your cheesesteak or deep dish pizza with than Schmuck Taylor's Atomic Drop Asshole Shattering Hot Sauce. My Atomic Drop Hot Sauce will blow your O-ring out and paint your taste buds red with robust, intense flavor. Gather up your best friends and blow each other away with Schmuck Taylor's Atomic Drop Asshole Shattering Hot Sauce. Ask for it by name.
And there you are, Schmuck Taylor's Atomic Drop Hot Sauce, asshole shattering.
Oh, come on, Schmuck. You can't play that on network radio.
So, yeah, head on over there. Check out the commercial. We've got an exclusive there from Schmuck Taylor and his asshole shattering hot sauce. Make sure to ask for it by name.
But other than Schmuck Taylor's hot sauce commercial, there's nothing exciting about this match. There's some pretty decent wrestling. This was a wrestling match in a 2-hour shit show. But I just don't give a fuck about Chuck Taylor. I don't give a fuck about Trent Beretta. I hate Ortiz. Ortiz has just become such a goof with his claw thing and his overselling of the orange juice. And I am so over Ortiz. I'm done with him. And then Santana is just kind of like, nah. Just felt like the match was going forever.
I can't come back and debate you on any of this. It was a mid-card, middle-of-the-road tag team match that I was watching that had no real reason to watch. Like, it didn't. If it happened, it happened. If it didn't, it didn't. It was if you're watching it live, go grab something to drink and keep your show on.
Yeah,
I can't. I'd love to come up with some positive thing and really get into a deep-hearted debate about why Schmuck Taylor and Beretta had a great match.
They wrestled good. That's all I can say. But none of them, none of these four guys have it.
I don't mind.
That's just my humble opinion.
I don't hate so much Ortiz and Santana as much as you just described. I think they're funny. Goofy shit makes me laugh. I get it. We're supposed to be watching something that's fighting and real or whatever, but the Tiger style thing. But so here's where I stand on this. If he's going to do the Tiger style and do that and be the overacting, dramatic, goofy guy, right?
Right.
I say go for it. But you cannot be the badass from New York anymore.
Right. That's a very good point.
So I'm fine. Commit to the comedy shit. You're actually pretty funny at it. His Tiger style, and when he did the thing last week about the piss and it smells like cat piss, and then he just like yells at Tony Schiavone, cat piss, and he just walks away. Like, he's got pretty good timing. He's not scared to be goofy, but he also can't be the guy from New York, the mad ball swinging Puerto Rican that's going to murder you. You know what I'm saying? You can't also be a gangbanger from New York that's so hard. You'll be one or the other. Pick one and run with it. That's
a very good point. Choose, God damn it. And we find out that this is going to be an ongoing thing later on in the show. The mad ball swinging baseball bat having team
spray
of
painting.
Santana and spray painting Ortiz and Santana destroy Sue's van. Sue again being Trent Beretta's mom.
They did. I thought that obviously breaking stuff is always fun and entertaining to watch, but that was
just a tidbit. There was no license plate on that van. So it really wasn't
well,
Trent.
Because then people would know Trent where he lives. They could research the plate and track him down. Duh. He's famous. He'll just pay the ticket and move on. The thing that I hated about this spot, I don't mind a good demolishing a vehicle on TV wrestling. I don't know. We watched Brock destroy that car a couple years back. We've seen lots of nonsense. Vince McMahon got blown up in a limo for the love of Pete.
Hell, in Street Fighter 2, that was a bonus stage. You get to destroy a Mercedes right there on the boat. So, Yeah,
So then
smashing cars is always good, I guess.
they spray painted it. They made the thing. It's their gimmick, so it works and blah, blah, blah. But what I hated every second about it was, why was there a camera inside of the minivan?
Ooh, how did I not catch that as being a cynical prick that I am?
I'm watching it going, oh, all right, cool. They're smashing the window. They spray painted it and they're busting the windshield. All right, cool. I was maybe expecting best friends to come out and be a little street fight, and it's going to lead to a 4-way Puerto Rican, whatever you want to call it, mad ball, no rules backlot fight. Cool. Okay, that didn't happen. Then you go, wait, they're inside. There goes a window. All right, they're outside. They're inside. They're outside. And they were showing the windows get shattered from inside. They're showing them get shattered from outside. And well, why is there a camera in there?
Maybe Trent's filming Bang Bus episodes on
Maybe
his days off.
His mom leaves him in the car while she gets groceries, and she can check in on him on his phone.
on her nanny cam.
Yeah, and she can turn the air conditioning up or down if he's too hot or cold and change the radio station for him.
But the good news of this is that it's going to be an ongoing thing. We're going to see Santana and Ortiz versus the Best Friends on future episodes of AEW. So there will be time where you don't have to pause it and you can get up and take a piss and cook a roast and have dinner and sit down just in time for the main event.
I did like how they went when the Best Friends got back to it like 3 or 4 segments later. That it was even worse. Like it was up on blocks. The wheels are gone. It was more spray painting done to it.
Oh, yeah. They fucking parked this car in Harlem, apparently.
Yeah. Like it just got even worse. That part made me laugh because it was goofy. And, I mean, if you're going to roll with it, that part made me chuckle a little bit. But other than that, don't put a camera inside. Don't do stuff that doesn't exist.
And just, I guess so we can stay on a statistical front. The Best Friends steal the win. It looked like Santana and Ortiz were going to win. Best Friends, I think Schmuck got the roll-up or some small package or some shit like that.
With his atomic drop, asshole shattering hot sauce, ask more by name. And
after that, we get the star of AEW, the one and only MJF, giving an update from his campaign headquarters.
Yeah. So he comes walking in the back, running through his campaign headquarters, and he's just a real doucher to everybody. Screaming about posters being not level and smile when you're going to talk to me.
Oh, yeah. He yelled at his – he's playing this chauvinistic thing really well where he's just belittling his female assistant. And then he's got that one little independent guy, Lee Harvey Oswald or Lee something or another. He's putting up posters apparently, and he's not putting them up correctly. So MJF's just being a complete dick. He's doing his job. I love him, but I hope for his sake that enough people hate him. Do you think there's people actually out there who hate him and they're like, I love Mox and fuck you, MJF?
Yes.
Good. Because he needs to be the star of the show.
The Ute, if you will.
And there was also a video of him floating around. I think I sent it to you where it was just something he's like, well, fuck you. I don't care if you don't like me. And he actually
I hear you're a huge fan. I hear you like talking from well, fuck you. So that was good. I thought it was funny when somebody asked him about, well, what if Darby Allin wins tonight?
Oh, that was fantastic.
And he's like, cool, a 120-pound emo kid. Cool. I hope he does win. Put me up against him.
Right. That's going to be a real challenge. But yeah, so that was that. MJF did his job. He made people hate him. He made me love him. He made Brian love him, I'm sure.
Yeah,
and we go from one speech to another. We get Matthew Hardy after that. Not Matt Hardy. Not Damascus. Not
Igor, I don't know,
whatever fucking characters he wants. We get the real Matthew Hardy, and this is the Matt Hardy I like. Call me boring, but
stronger than death.
I like Matt Hardy this way. But one thing he mentions, just real quick, he mentions the millions of viewers that watch AEW every week.
Several 100,000.
Yeesh.
You're pushing over 500,000. I mean, 3/4 at time.
But he said millions, which would be at least 2 million. So he's off by about 1.4 million. But whatever, sell your product. We also have 600,000 followers on our podcast.
listen.
Yeah, I
tune in.
mean, we're almost up to 700,000 downloads a week, guys, so you better hop on the train before we hit our limit.
I mean, Spotify was offering us contracts to go exclusive, but we're staying out. We're going to be YouTube and iTunes and Spotify, Google, all of it. I mean, we're not going exclusive to anybody. We want to stay true to our
Superstars.
name. So anyways, he's out there yip-yapping about going on and on about people want this and people want that, and we listen to the people and I listen to the people, and this is what I'm going to give them, and da-da-da-da-da. Then he goes on to a rant about he's putting over a private party. He's putting over some other guys, and he starts to get down into the brass tacks of the whole situation of what it's about. And it's about drawing out Sammy Guevara from coming under the ring. Now, they explained to us why he came out from under the ring last week, as we were confused. If you didn't hear about that, tune into episode 10 last week, as you are currently listening to episode 11, and hear us talk about Matt Hardy climbing out from underneath the ring, and we had no idea what was happening. Only the sound guy and Matt Hardy knew.
Those were the only two guys privy to the information. A very private email went out.
Yes. So Sammy draws himself out, and then those two start beating the living hell out of each other. And I thought they did pretty good.
Matt Hardy's punches were really, really weak. He looked like he was a fucking 12-year-old schoolgirl throwing his punches.
He's also probably got about 100 pounds on Sammy Guevara.
In about 30 years.
So, I don't know. Maybe he's got that old man strength. You're scared of hurting the kid. But nonetheless, they were throwing each other around. There's some good spots into the tables. And then Sammy just whips a chair.
He chucked that fucking chair, man.
Now, didn't see it. I saw him whip the chair. Then he went up on the stage. And obviously, you saw Matt laying at the table. You knew a spot was coming. Like, you know, I can see the writing on the wall. But what I didn't see was the amount of blood that Matt Hardy was losing.
I rewound this and rewatched it 3 times because I was looking for the blade job. The way he was holding his hand looked like he was holding a razor blade, but either he gouged the living shit out of himself or that chair really fucking hit him in the head.
Or a little bit of both. Like, he gouged it and then the chair fucked it up. I don't know. But, like, that chair, because it wasn't a chair shot. He threw it. It was like the leg of the chair kind of hit him. It was, I don't know. I wouldn't want that.
He chucked it like a fucking spear. I thought that was very unprofessional of him. I would file a complaint.
But then he hits him with that 450 cannonball deal. Whatever. I don't know how many rotations he exactly got on it there. But nonetheless, he hit him with several rotations into that cannonball splash that he did onto Matt Hardy through the table. And that was pretty cool.
Yeah, Sammy Guevara looked like goddamn Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. He was just covered in blood.
He was. Them sweats and everything. It was cool. It was cool. It was a cool shot. Rebby Hardy, as she was known there over in TNA Impact, Matt Hardy's wife. Did you see her tweet that she put out after that happened?
No, I didn't.
It just said dumbass or something along those lines. And that was it. So I don't know exactly who she was calling the dumbass, if she's just taunting her husband for blading a little aggressively, or Sammy for throwing the chair if she was playing in the work. But cool spot, lead into some cool matches. A cool match probably leading into something at All Out, the next pay-per-view coming up from AEW on the 31st. So that could be cool. Something big. Those two could, lay it out. You got Sammy, who can fly, and Matt, who used to fly, but no someone can work with it, is what I'm getting at.
Right, and AEW, I guess one thing we can give them is they jammed all that, what we just talked about, they jammed all that in between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock, because I have in my notes right now, we hit the 9 o'clock hour with a couple of the Dork Order lackeys going against Cody Rhodes and the artist formerly known as Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona.
Yes. Poor JR getting tongue-tied, and I give him the benefit of the doubt on that one. It's his first time. It's Matt's first time out, and he just instinctively wanted to say Zack Ryder, and he caught himself, and then he made fun of it. He goes, I'm going to call him by a different name. And then Taz went, I get it, and they moved on.
Well, one thing, not to jerk off Corny again so much, but he mentioned in one of his last week podcasts that who the fuck knows who Matt Cardona is besides, wrestling fans who are not, just casual viewers, people who are really into wrestling. I didn't know who Matt Cardona was until he got released. I always knew him as Zack Ryder.
Right. You didn't look up his real name.
Why not use his name? You don't call him Zack Ryder, but you can say, oh, yeah, we got this fella came from New York or came from another company, used to be known as Zack Ryder, but now he's Matt Cardona. Because he doesn't really look like the Zack Ryder that I remember.
No, he's not the old school Jersey Shore Zack Ryder.
Right. So
that's what made him famous, the woo, 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 and the fist pumping and all that stuff. Now he's just jacked and ready to fight.
Just get somewhere on the show where the words come out of your mouth, Zack Ryder, but not in a way where Vince is going to send you a cease and desist. And that way you might draw in a few more viewers who... I was a woo Mark back when he was, made himself the internet champion.
Both go to the internet champion. Yeah, I thought it was. So this match was good. It was Cody. It was two independent, not independent. I don't want to say, because then you get confused with independent wrestling. But it was two solo wrestlers, two standalone singles guys.
One of them was John Silver, which the commentators really put John Silver over.
Yeah, they were all over his nuts, but it was just more or less Cody and Zack Ryder or Matt Cardona. Those two were singles guys put into a tag team match. So there was no tag team flow between them, really.
Right. It's friends. Just they're buddies. They're friends, and that was the whole point of this match is they've been basically best friends for a long time, so let's slap them together so they can team together and welcome Zack Ryder into the club. Now, I understand Cody. I understand he doesn't want to be the Hulk Hogan. He doesn't want to be the Triple H where he just buries motherfuckers. He wants to put people over. But he put this John Silver guy over way too hard because this is just a lackey from the Dork Order. Nobody talks about him. He has nothing going for him in the company right now. And just every time Cody wrestles, even with the what's that guy, horse guy from last week who challenged him for the internet belt?
Oh yeah,
Warhorse.
I was like, what?
It doesn't matter if it's Warhorse from the Independents or Long John Silver right here wearing a fucking mask. Every guy, fucking Big Swole. I don't know who the fuck Cody's been wrestling, but whoever wrestles Cody Rhodes is instantly on par with Cody Rhodes. It's a 50-50 even match. And in this one, John Silver kicked the shit out of Cody, where he spent most of the match, quote unquote, injured or just selling that he had got the living shit beat out of him, leaving it to Matt Cardona to, take over and end up winning the match. And again, I get it. And I'll quit rambling in 1 second. It did what Cody wanted it to do. It got over John Silver, which who knows, maybe he has shit coming up. It put over Zack Ryder in his first AEW official match. But it just makes Cody look like shit.
Yes and no. I get what you're saying, that it makes him look like shit in the sense that he, like you said, is 50-50 par or 50-50 shot. He's on par with everybody who gets in the ring with him.
Right. Every nerd, every loser that gets in the ring with Cody is
every warhorse
instantly take them 25 minutes.
Every warhorse you've never heard of can come in and go with them, right?
Right.
But it kind of puts it to me in a reality aspect that, I'll defend it a little bit here the best I can. That it puts it that these guys, that he's in a fight, and sometimes you get tagged in a fight. There's been lots of, boxing and UFC matches where this, as a wrap, he's going to go out and win, and surprise, surprise, even Tyson can get knocked out. So, but in this, it just shows with professional wrestling, what it shows to me, like with the way that they can work this angle with this is they can have him be beat up, but Cody has more in him to stay in the match and get the win, right? And to keep that, he's not gonna quit. So you can go with him, you can get lucky on some shots with me, but I'm going to find the way to win and stay in the match. And that's where Cody is better than them.
It's just, I don't know. To
But I
me,
think
it
it's
just
going to be
still
the
looks like
opposite.
Cody sucks. It just
But
looks like
but you're
Long
gonna-
John Silver's just as good as wrestler as Cody, and Cody got lucky.
I don't think Evan looks like Cody got lucky because he's not winning with schoolboys. He's winning with his finishers. Getting lucky is winning with a schoolboy. Getting lucky is getting a 1-2-3 kid over Razor Ramon, getting lucky. Winning the match and not giving up and keeping that intestinal fortitude, that's what they're showing, that he's not going to give up. It's going to take more than that. Sure, you can get some lucky shots in, but it's going to take more than you getting lucky. To me, that's what I see. He's not just getting lucky and stealing pins, stealing wins.
I just think that where does it stop? If everybody is equally strong or equally qualified in AEW, there needs to be hierarchy, or there needs to be levels. There needs to be jobbers. There needs to be mid-card guys. There needs to be main event guys. You can't just take a jobber from the fucking flea market last weekend, put him in a match with John Moxley or the fucking Murder Hawk and have him take them 30 minutes. Everybody can't be the same. This isn't little league fucking baseball. Not everybody gets a chance at the title. There needs to be people who just get the shit kicked out of them and have the floor mopped with them. And I think John Silver should have been fucking thrown all over the goddamn ring by Cody, and Cody needs to show his ability to be a top star.
I don't disagree with you, so that it makes for an exciting debate, but I don't disagree with you that there needs to be a hierarchy. But what I just think that if it goes the opposite way, you fall, and then it just instantly gets thrown into the category of Hulk Hogan, Triple H, John Cena. Well, Cody won again. Didn't make that look hard. Bip, bip, bip. Why are we watching this? So I think he's fucked no matter what he does. People are going to shit on him.
He just needs to wrestle better guys. If he's going to be a top star, he needs to wrestle like, what the hell has Lance Archer been up to?
Well, but he's also wrestling a mid-card title, and then they're pretty much labeling that the mid-card title.
Ugh.
The Intercontinental Championship of AEW.
Right, but when I think of the IC title, I don't think of it in 2020 terms. I think of it in like late 80s, early 90s terms, where you had fucking Ultimate Warrior. Right. You had Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels, two of the best stars ever, fighting for the IC title. You had Macho Man as the IC champion and Hulk Hogan as the world champion at some point. I think the TNT title should mean something, and Cody should be wrestling guys who are worthy of wrestling them. And again, I get it. He's on this gimmick where he wants to give everyone a chance, but you need to squash some guys. He squashed a guy a couple months ago, I think.
I don't disagree with you that there needs to be some ebbs and flows to it. I think it's a slippery slope either way. If you do too much of anything is bad. Too much of selling is bad, and too much of, ultimate winning or demolish squashing is bad, however you want to word it. So you can't just go all one either side. So you have to have some squash matches, some guys who put up a fight, and he has to steal some too. You got to change it up for us. Be sporadic with it.
I'll be a little more happy. I don't know if it's going to be next week or the week after or at All In, or what is it? All In? That's the next one. All Out is the next one. But Scorpio Sky is going to be challenging Cody for the TNT belt.
Now there's a guy on his level. This should go the distance.
There you go. Give these guys 25, 30 minutes, because Scorpio Sky is another top talent. Unfortunately, he's stuck in, I like SCU. But Scorpio Sky needs to be his own man. He could be a top star.
Oh, yeah. I think he will be. He's already on his way. But we can move on from this, because we could talk about this topic until the cows come home.
Next we got the Chuck and Trent, but we've already covered that. They get to see the damage to the van. And from there, we go to the big debate between Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy with special guest moderator Eric Bischoff.
The Bish is back.
And Tony Schiavone says, "This is the first time Bischoff has been on TNT in 20 years." And I'm just in my head, I'm like, yeah, since he fucking sunk the ship.
No. I'm a Bischoff Mark. Bischoff didn't sink the ship. The ship sunk after he was fired and they hired fucking dickhead from WWE, Vince Russo.
Russo sunk the ship.
Oh,
Didn't Bischoff put some holes in that motherfucker, though, by giving, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall all that guaranteed money, Hogan all that guaranteed money?
well, that's neither here nor there. They had billionaire Ted's money, if you ask me. The creativity of the show was at its highest throughout the time when Bischoff was in charge. I mean, 83 weeks, right? 83 weeks.
Right. The 83 weeks does tell a good story.
When he gets fired, they bring him in, and then they bring Bischoff back in to try and save it. And
it was just too little, too late.
Too little, too late. The problem with there's many problems with WCW, and we can get into that a whole nother day, but there was no hierarchy to the program. Bischoff was in charge, but somebody else did the booking. So there's all kinds of shit to that. They gave it to Kevin Nash. They gave it to Kevin Sullivan. They give it to whoever. Hogan had creative rights, so anything he didn't like about his character, he could 86 and walk out on and still have a job. So anyways, Bischoff's back. He's on AEW. I love Eric Bischoff. I've interviewed him twice on a previous wrestling podcast that I hosted. Awesome guy. Sat and shot the shit with us for about an hour or so each time. And I was happy to see it. I hope he sticks around and does something. Not necessarily in a creative end. I don't care about all that. Just a character role for me is fine.
Well, they put him into this, and I hope he does something a little more because, it was nice to see him. I think he did okay with WWE when he was supposedly running SmackDown.
Right.
And was let go. But he's just being the moderator, and he's asking the questions in this little debate. And no surprise at the beginning for me, I didn't expect Orange Cassidy to say a thing because that's his gimmick. He doesn't care. He doesn't need to say anything. And Jericho's the man with the golden mic skills. He needs to do all the talking, and that's the way they started it out.
And it started out good that way. Jericho was actually very funny.
Oh, yeah. Jericho's pretty much the first question was, why do you guys hate each other? And Jericho explains why he hates Orange Cassidy. Pretty much he just said everything that I've been bitching about for the past 10 weeks about Orange Cassidy. And unfortunately, it's a work because if Jericho really felt that way, he wouldn't work with this fucking schlub. He would bury him and tell him to get the fuck on.
I thought it was the best when he said that he's there in a $7,000 suit or $10,000 suit, and that he's there in some old sweats and ratty jean jacket that smells like. He said three things, but the last one was batteries, and I don't know why.
Oh my
that made me laugh. I popped for batteries. He's like, it smells. I can't think of the other two right now. I had them wrote down, and I left my notes upstairs on that. But it was just very funny. He's like, you smell it, and batteries.
I didn't catch the batteries joke, or I probably would have popped for that.
Oh, you have to go back and watch it again. So that was funny to me. Then they go to Orange Cassidy.
Nothing to say at the beginning until Eric Bischoff asks this off-the-wall question that seems so shoehorned in there.
They were just questions taken from social media at random that were asked on the social media platforms from AEW.
And it was some stupid shit about rising sea levels and how it affects the economy or some garbage like that.
How it affects the economy.
And Jericho fucking...
He said the question was stupid, move on.
Which is exactly what I said. I'm marking out on Jericho for this one.
And then Orange Cassidy speaks for the first time in pushing a year on AEW TV.
And just goes on a full-on detailed answer with statistics and analytics and percentages and everything on basically just gives a...
melting ice caps and the using fossil fuel for pollution and how it's warming our atmosphere. He goes on this whole rant.
Basically gives his Miss America fucking answer to a economy or to a fucking rising sea level question.
And I thought it was hilarious because it just finally, for one, you got to hear him speak, and you got to see that new side to Orange Cassidy. So I
And
thought it was
if you listened real closely at this point, real closely, you could hear probably about 200,000 TVs switch over to USA. That's my prediction. I think AEW probably lost a lot of viewers on this segment.
Oh, I thought it was hilarious. I thought the whole thing was funny from top to bottom. I thought Jericho was hilarious. I thought having Eric Bischoff there was cool. Getting to see the change in Orange Cassidy, I loved that. I thought the whole thing was great. I loved every second of this.
Now, I didn't mind the ending though. When Cassidy finally decided to cut a real promo on Jericho, and said, "You know what? You're making fun of me. You're calling me a loser. You're saying I don't care. I'm just a schlub. I don't deserve to be here. Yada yada yada." What happens if you lose to the guy who puts his hands in his pockets? And I
Yeah.
was just like, touche, Mr. Cassidy, touche.
Now that's what sold me on the whole thing at the end. That was like the cherry on top. If he would have only spoke that one time about sea levels and such and fossil fuels, I laughed for a moment, and then I would have moved on. But then he cut that promo at the end. Very well spoken, very well said, the way that he laid it out. And I like that part. I like the whole thing.
And Jericho played up to his character after Eric Bischoff declares Orange Cassidy the winner of the debate. Jack Hager and Chris Jericho jump Orange Cassidy, or Jack Swagger, Jake Hager, Sammy Hager.
I like the fact when he goes, "Bischoff, you suck. I've hated you for 22 years. It's been 24, and I know how you feel."
I popped for that too. But Jake Hager and Chris Jericho jump Orange Cassidy and beat the living shit out of him.
When Jake put his hands in his pockets, he put up Orange Cassidy's hands and then shook him and then stuck him in his pockets and put up his other hand and stuck him in his pockets as he's laying there basically knocked out on his feet and then threw him into the Judas effect. That was money, man.
Yeah.
That was money all day long.
That was great. Classic heel shit.
It was.
And I loved it.
They really gave Orange Cassidy the obviously he already has the baby face, but they really put it in there that, gave him a new side. The evolution of Orange Cassidy, it's coming. Keep watching. Keep watching. I have faith. I'm not letting go of faith. The evolution of Orange Cassidy will be something different from where we're at with him now and how people feel about it to where we end up will be two totally different things.
Well, I also recently, I just thought of this. It's not even in my notes, that Orange Cassidy said in a recent interview that the Young Bucks hired him specifically as a fuck you to the like classic wrestling industry. Like, haha, we're going to hire this fucking joke and we're going to make him a star. And just because you say, he can't be, this isn't what wrestling is. We're going to hire this fucking dork and we're going to do something with him. They ended up having him meet with Tony Khan. Tony Khan falls in love with Orange Cassidy. After his gimmicks explained to him, he loves every ounce of Cassidy's gimmick and gave him the push. And it's just been money from there for Orange Cassidy, that lucky little fuck.
Well, no surprise that the Bucks are going to give somebody the push that says "fuck you" to traditional wrestling, as they are the guys that are, quote, killing the business, and that is something that's used in multiple different levels of looking at how they're either killing it in the business or they are going to kill the business. They are going to do one or the other. They're either going to make this work or they're going to tear the whole son of a bitch down.
It's going to go one way or the other, but
so I love this debate thing. I thought it was great. I thought it was funny and very entertaining.
Now, moving on from there, as if we don't already have enough complete garbage female wrestlers in this, in this fucking company, Britt Baker does her weekly heel promo,
which is great.
And Britt Baker's fantastic. She's gold. She made an announcement last week that in order for Big Swole to get a chance at her, she needed to be an opponent of her choosing, her being Britt Baker. And Britt Baker chose her personal assistant, or whatever the fuck she is, makeup lady, Reba, to fight Big Swole. there's plenty of trash to choose from. Why are we pushing Reba now? Why is Reba gonna become a wrestler?
I don't think
Just-
Reba's going to become a wrestler. I don't think Reba's going to become a wrestler. What I think this was is for a layer of character development for Britt Baker. This was a layer of she doesn't care who you are. She will step all over you to get to what she needs.
and
So
even
she
stepping all over her best friend Reba.
She threw her best friend to the Sharks to get 8 up. She doesn't care who you are. She'll get it done. To me, that's what I took from this, that it was different. It wasn't about Reba. It was about Britt Baker. And if you look at it at face value, you're going to see Reba. But she got in there. She threw Big Swole around for a minute. She threw some wacky spin kick into the corner. She pounded her head off the mat for a minute, but, it was what it was. She looked like she'd wrestled.
Oh, God, that looked awful. The head pounding.
I said it was what it was. It wasn't amazing. It was just that's the offense she got in. But to me, that's what it was, though. It was another layer of how shitty of a person Britt Baker is.
Okay, I can bite on that, and if that's what the point was, fantastic. I love it. But Reba got in some offense. Big Swole sold for her, and Reba hit a pretty decent looking. Well, she missed, but the execution of her second rope moonsault looked pretty good, and that's why I was biting that. Oh no, Reba's going to become a wrestler now. She's going to be Virgil, basically. The second coming of Virgil.
Virgin. Well,
we're not talking about Kenny Omega again. We're talking about Reba.
So anyways, I don't know what they're going to do with that, but that's where I took it, and we'll see where it goes from there. And then where are we at after that?
I've also made a note that I'm marking this match down, that being Reba versus Big Swole, as a candidate for the Smarky Awards Worst Match of 2020.
Worst match of 2020. That was pretty bad. Clearly, basically had a non-wrestler taking on a wrestler. Does that lead us into the main event?
That leads us into the main event. We have Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley for the AEW Championship. Darby comes out in a paper Jon Moxley mask. I was clueless on that. Do you have any idea what that was about?
He seems to do that with all his characters that he takes, or with his opponents that he takes on, creates these alternate art sketch characters. He did it with one where it looked like they were all playing from the ladder match. Remember, it looked like they were playing poker or something. They had that from All Out or whatever it was, and it's just something he does. It's very Jeff Hardy, Enigma type thing.
Oh, cool.
It's just it doesn't. I don't know whether there's anything other than it's just something that Darby does. He's trying to channel the inner Jon Moxley into his soul before he beats him up. I don't know what he's doing. He's fucking weird.
And Moxley comes out of the basement, and, would we expect anything less from Jon Moxley? He can't just fucking come down the aisle like a normal wrestler. He has to hang out in the basement like he's Mankind. And they go ahead and get to work, and Mox, for the first part of this match until the commercial break, just beat the living shit out of Darby Allin.
He did expose the size difference in this match.
That's what I like. He, at the very beginning, it wasn't like, 50-50 Darby might beat him. No, this was a complete ass kicking by Jon Moxley.
Yeah, it was just a beating, and then they had to let Darby get some offense in, or otherwise it was just going to be completely like, what are we watching? Like, whatever. You got to put fucking Ben Smith in there with a satin jacket. So they got to let him get some offense in. Then
Right.
it got a little Jon Moxley match where they got wandering. They wandered away from the ring. They got lost for a minute. Rick Knox really could give two shits about the whole situation.
I've gotten my notes here that I've come to the conclusion that Jon Moxley is just not comfortable in a wrestling ring. He would rather be in the basement, or be in the stands, or be on the ramp, or be in the kitchen.
Anywhere
but the ring, because he spent as little time as possible in the ring with Darby Allin. But what I liked was when he fucking spear chucked Darby into the ring post, and you heard the little ding.
You did. And then that ref was quick on top of him to make sure he was all right. So you knew that was a hell of a throw, a hell of a hit. How well is Darby trying to sell this? Did he really throw he's a moron, so he may have just said, I'll make this look real, and stuck his head out to catch a dinger offside the post.
Yeah, don't put it past Darby Allin to really slam his head against a ring post for the 600,000 people watching.
For a cool spot. And then, and then they beat the hell out of each other, and then it was the stay down. He had cut the promo earlier. When it's time to stay down, you stay down. Basically Mox saying, dude, after you're beat, don't be kicking out and not tapping out. Just give up when it's over and we can move on. I don't want to have to kill you. I like you, but I'm going to win type of speech he gave.
Right. After we come back from the commercial break, Jon Moxley's still beating on Darby Allin there. He has him in an STF, and he's trying to choke him out. Darby starts to hulk up a little bit. He's giving Mox the double middle finger.
He darbs up.
He darbed right up, started getting his offense in, which we all know when Darby's got his offense, it's just human cannonballs left and right, over the ropes, between the ropes, off the top rope, and he's just using his body as a projectile. And as goofy as it is, it kind of works for Darby Allin because he certainly doesn't have any strength over Jon Moxley, so he might as well just fling his body into him.
I think it works for Darby, and then it works when people know how to work with Darby. It works even better. So Darby can do it with anybody, but when he works with somebody that knows how to handle it, such as Moxley, it gelled well.
It looked good.
Two guys that shouldn't have been able to put on a fight, right? The size difference, you should have been like, well, this is a wrap. Mox is going to murder this son of a bitch, and then this will be over. So they worked well on that. I enjoyed most of this match, to be honest with you. You just had to accept that they were going to go wandering and not be in a ring.
Right. And we get Wardlow and MJF do make an appearance in this one. Wardlow distracts Rick Knox, and I had a bit of an issue with this because maybe Rick Knox is just clinically brain dead. He distracted him for about a half an hour, and MJF got a hold of the belt, slams Moxley in the head. Moxley juices, gets a little color going on, and Darby almost gets the win. Mox prevails with a pile driver and a paradigm shift because that ruthless-ass pile driver he put on 125-pound Darby Allin just wasn't enough to put him away.
First, he chokes him out. He doesn't give up on that. He takes the choke out into that Gotch-style pile driver, spikes him with that, then
Still only gets a 2 count.
And then hits him with the paradigm shift, but in this emotional way that he didn't want to, right? He like shaking his head and
Just
mad about it.
Stay down.
And then he did it, but then he gives him that hug at the end, and then I saw some video on Instagram that he was like, I know you're a loner, but if you want to ride with me, you can ride anytime. That's what he yells at Darby Allin. So I think it was something after they went off the air. It was maybe on AEW Dark or something. They shared that somewhere along the lines, but I saw it on Instagram today. But you earned my respect, kid. So it was kind of it was the Undertaker, Jeff Hardy back in the day, right? I'm going to make you famous. Beats the hell out of him in the ladder match.
It was a pretty good match. I didn't like Rick Knox's stupidity. Wasn't a huge fan that it took so much to put Darby Allin just because of the size difference. I think he should have went down a little easier, but you had to have that ending moment where we're gonna make Moxley and Darby pals. So you had to make Darby look like a tough son of a bitch.
Right. I think they could have put it over more using the commentators, because you're not trying to get the fans over it right now because there is no fans in the arena. So you don't have to worry about telling a story. Because, you can get lost. You go to a live event and you miss some things. You don't hear the commentators state things of why it's happening. So we don't have to worry about that so much. You can just skip that. So have the commentators put him over and say, he's just kicking out of instinct. He's out on his feet. Really sell that he's being dumb. Let it go, kid. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't know. You had Taz in there who's been
old school JR where it's just just stop it, damn it. Stop this match. Rick Knox needs to stop this match. That
you got Taz in there who's
better.
who walked in, the famous story of Taz walking into a hospital back in the 90s from ECW, and they said, "How did you get here?" And he goes, "I walked." And they said, "Your neck is broken. You did not walk in here." You have a guy that's been through the shit, that's been beat up and choked out. Come on, Dobby, what are you doing, kid? Like, why doesn't he get mad? Why isn't he yelling and he's choking him? They just were like, wow, look at that. He's tapping out. He's hulking up. You know what I'm saying? Like, why isn't it make it real and use some real emotion and scream about it and have Taz relate to being a wrestler and how he would have handled it or what he needs to do, or have Taz. I don't know. They could have done a few things to sell it up a little bit. But overall, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Wasn't bad.
Wasn't bad. The whole AEW show for me this week I enjoyed more of it than not. So
besides commercial breaks, I didn't hit the fast forward button, even for the girls match, because it was so short. I didn't really have time.
Yeah, it was I enjoyed most of it. There's always some things to fix, and I could sit here and tear apart NXT on the same ways that they handled things. And just seems to be AEW's the show that we always talk more about and give a little more love to. But it's always also a big talk on the internet, so we're staying topical on joining in on the fun. They catch a lot of heat, so I like to defend them a little bit. But anything else for us this week, Eric? What do you got?
I'm wrapped. All my notes are in the trash can, and I didn't really see anything else big going on this weekend. Anything from you?
No, that is it, man. So if you guys are feeling froggy on the internet, hop on over there and check us out on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Join the group, the Kayfabe Smark. Hop on over to anchor.fm/the Kayfabe Smark. Leave us a question. Leave us a joke. Get in contact with us so it gives us two knuckleheads something to chat about. And make sure to go over to audibletrial.com/the Kayfabe Smark so we can get you guys a free book and a 30-day free trial over there at Audible. You get a little book, we get a little coin. Life is good. Anything else, Eric? What you got?
As always, you can catch me on Instagram, my personal profile, which is just, oh yeah, it's Eric, all one word. Or you can catch videos of me and my blue-nosed pit bull back there who's snoozing, Stella. You can catch us on TikTok, just making dumb videos together at stella.hates.eric.
So once again, this has been the Kayfabe Smark podcast, and we will see you guys next week.
We're out of here.
We out. Hootie hoo. We out the gate.
We out the gates.
The Kayfabe Smark Podcast.